Once you decide to take that trip you've been dreaming of for years, the planning begins. But you don't want to spend your energy on vacation trying to figure out what to do next. That's where we can help. For those of you who are new here, we're a team of frequent travelers who have lived in and visited over 75 countries worldwide. These tips are how we make a trip run smoothly so that we can get the most out of our vacation. Starting with knowing how much we have to spend. Taking a realistic look at your budget will help you make decisions later. Only you can determine how much is too much. Then start looking at how much you'll have to spend on transportation to get there. Add in the cost of accommodations once you arrive, plus how expensive it is to get around. Some cities have great public transit, while others will require rideshare apps or even puddle jumper flights to get from place to place. What's left is what you can spend on food and activities throughout the trip. You can either set a daily budget or splurge on a few bigger excursions, looking for low or no cost activities to fill the remaining time. If you do that, you'll want to limit your spending every other day or plan activities at the beginning and end of the trip so you don't get bored or burnt out. We'll talk more about how to decide what to do later in the video. To get the most for your money, avoid traveling to popular destinations in peak seasons. Paris in springtime and summer is expensive, but Paris in winter is still as iconic. You'll save a lot if you're willing to put on a coat. If you don't have school-age children, avoid traveling when most students will be out. You may even want to check the calendars of schools within driving distance of your destination. Did you know that a lot of Florida kids get a week-long break in October? That surprises a lot of travelers who expect Walt Disney World and Universal Studios to be less crowded, so it pays to do a little research ahead of time. If you can't avoid school breaks, take your vacation somewhere with a different holiday schedule. July 4th is big in the United States, but they don't celebrate American Independence Day overseas, so you may be able to snag a deal. The same goes if you're traveling somewhere internationally. Just because there's not a holiday here in the States doesn't mean that there's not a holiday wherever you're going, so make sure that you're checking that out beforehand. Or check out colder destinations instead of warm weather locales to travel for the winter holidays. They may cost less, as long as you avoid ski resorts, unless you like skiing, in which case, do your thing. You just might pay a little bit more. All of that is to say, the more flexible you can be, the better. When searching for flights and hotels, look at days and weeks surrounding the time when you want to go. Moving your trip even a day or two either way could save you a lot of money. Google Flights and other online search engines show flight estimates. Start with a range of dates and narrow your search from there. The price will vary depending on your return flight, so make sure to click all the way through to find the true cost of your trip, or you might be unpleasantly surprised when you go to actually buy the flight. If you're flexible on destination and have a bucket list of places you want to see, look to see if any are cheaper when you're trying to go. However, even if you use a third-party site to find flights, book directly with the hotel or airline when you can. Some companies won't honor their booking policies unless you book through them, so it'll make it easier to change or adjust things down the line. And keep looking after you book. A refundable fare or stay may cost a little more upfront, but it'll be worth it in the long run if you can score a cheaper night at the hotel. Some airlines even offer change fees for everyone or at certain tiers, where you can rebook a flight at a lower cost and get the price difference as a flight credit for the future. If you want to save by booking a non-refundable flight through the airline, remember that you have 24 hours from when you purchased it to cancel for any reason, thanks to a U.S. Department of Transportation regulation. That applies to any flight within or from the United States. International flight policies often depend on the airline, like if you're flying from Paris to Rome after spending a few days in France. Other factors may affect your plans, like a restaurant you're hoping to visit closing on Sundays and Mondays, or midweek flights costing less than weekends. You're probably going to have to make some sacrifices to get the trip you want at a price you can afford, so decide what's a must-do or a must-see and adjust from there. We like to make a list of potential sightseeing opportunities for each day. If you include the days and hours of operation, you might see patterns in places that make sense to see together that will help you decide what to do each morning. You'll be happy with whatever you do if you already know which places top your list. And if you just can't make it to that gelato stand, now you have something to prioritize for your next trip. I like to assume that I'm gonna go back somewhere if I really like it. Amalfi Coast, I'm coming for you. We're not all extroverted, run all day, do all the things people. If you know you're gonna need downtime, don't ignore your nature and power through. It's best to follow how you operate at home when you're planning your trip. You don't have to avoid big cities or tourist destinations just because you get overwhelmed by crowds. Instead, plan for some downtime. Make a reservation to eat at a slower, quieter restaurant for a midday break. Then you can recover from the energy you expended dealing with so many people and refuel at the same time. If you're a night owl, focus on local nightlife and see if there are any discounts for seeing the same attraction later in the day. You can often save on admission if you're willing to visit an hour or two before closing. The same goes for morning people. Play to your strengths and do what you want as early as possible, but don't try and experience closing time at the local pub. I mean, you can, but you might be a little too sleepy to enjoy it. You can put this advice to practice en route to your destination too. If you can't handle long flights, look for a midway point and stay there for a day before continuing, or book a long layover so you can stretch your legs. If you have time to spare, traveling by train can be much more relaxing, and you can see more of the country than you would by plane. However, it is a bit of a trade-off because you'll likely spend a couple of days in transit, so if you're working with limited PTO, that may not be the best option. Whether you're driving, flying, or taking the train, get all the apps. That means the app for your airline, hotel, and maybe even the subway. It seems like overkill, but you might get alerts for deals to excursions or cheaper nights. Plus, you won't have to hunt down schedules and paper maps if it's all on your phone. We also recommend Googling what apps a country uses, downloading them, and making your accounts before you leave. That way you're not scrambling to download a rideshare app using airport Wi-Fi. Group them all together in a folder on your home screen so you have them easily accessible. You can delete or unload them again when you get home if you don't have a lot of space on your phone. I personally like to keep them all so I don't have to remember the apps next time I visit a place, they're just still all on my phone. Like app folders, spreadsheets also make it easy to stay organized. Note any key attractions and restaurants you want to visit. Then you can arrange them by priority, hours, and costs. Creating a list will help you stay on budget, too. You can look at everything you're considering doing and see the total at a glance. Some attractions can be cheaper if you book them together, so look for deals in major cities that give you access to museums and other attractions with one ticket. If you already plan to visit 3 out of the 5 things, you'll probably save overall. When I went to Paris, we booked a museum pass through a local tourism office, and it gave us access to a bunch of stuff we were already planning on seeing, and it was unlimited for 3 days, which is coincidentally how long we were there. So that worked out really well for us. I also use Google Maps to look around the neighborhood where I'm staying. Food is a huge thing for me when I travel, so I make sure to scope out nearby restaurants. I also note the address of my accommodations, which comes in handy when you hop from place to place, as I did through Ireland. Plus, you can share the list with whoever you're traveling with, and they can add their ideas too. We don't always hit everything on the list, but I like to mark what I did do and liked so that when other people ask me for recommendations, I can help. And of course, all those apps ask you for your personal information to sign in. And it's amazing how fast you start getting spam once you've given it away. Stop it with Incogni, this video's sponsor. The companies you sign up with for travel rewards and to unlock your hotel room might sell your information to data brokers who resell it. That's when you get emails and calls from companies you don't know. Since I started working with them, Incogni has contacted data brokers on my behalf to get my information removed from more than 900 sites, made phone calls, and handled objections for me. I just sign in with the email I want to be spam-free, and Incogni does the rest. If you've ever Googled yourself, you've seen how many places have your personal information. While Incogni removes it from hundreds of databases, some aren't on their list yet. Upgrade to Incogni Unlimited to take advantage of their custom removals. Send their team of privacy experts links to specific sites with your information, and they'll work to get your data taken down. Incogni also has a family plan that lets you share your subscription with 4 more people, so you can help save others from spam. Use code PACKHACKER at the link in the description below to save 60% on an annual plan. Now, back to the tips. Paying attention to details will save you from missing out on something you wanted to see or do. When narrowing down your list of attractions, remember to write down any specifics relevant to your activities. That means any dress codes, specialty equipment, or unusual timetables. Listing out details like that will help you remember when you're packing and finalizing travel dates. Some places have dress code restrictions to be aware of, like modest clothing in the Vatican museums. Others have required clothing to participate, like closed-toed shoes for zip lining or water shoes for whitewater rafting. By planning ahead, you'll ensure you don't get turned away at the door. And if you make a packing list while jotting down your planned activities, you're less likely to forget down the line. It's important to look at timetables, like the dates and times that an attraction is open, or even transportation schedules, like a ferry. That'll help you rearrange your plans if necessary to make it there on time. That also applies to making it back home. If you're visiting a nearby city by train just for a day trip, make sure you look at the last train out of that city so you don't get stuck there overnight. Now it's time to create your ideal timeline. First, think of everything you want to do on the trip. Then consider where you'd like to start and what you want as your final memory. We like to build up the anticipation for a few days before hitting the highlight. That's most likely to be the thing you think of first when recalling the fun you had. It can be as easy as deciding which activity you want to do most and spending your last day doing it. Or maybe you celebrate a milestone anniversary at a fancy restaurant the night before flying home. Build the rest of your vacation from there, sprinkling in low-key activities or rest days after a big excursion. Traveling between destinations can be taxing too. If you're spending more than one day in the next town, try not to do your favorite thing right after driving or flying through the night to get there. Instead, start slowly the next morning and recover before seeing what the new town has to offer. Time changes really mess me me up, and I know that I need one night of sleep in a new place before I start to feel like a person again, so I usually build that into my trip. As I'm locking in my plans, I add them to a spreadsheet and share it with everyone traveling with me. I also send it to my family so they can follow along with my trip and know where I plan to be on any given day for safety. You should print out your important documents for safety too. Then you have a backup in case cell service is spotty. Keep printed tickets and confirmations in a pocket of your travel backpack. Then you can prove you had tickets for a show, even if a computer glitch means they can't find you in the system. Paper copies don't take up that much space in your day pack or sling, and they'll save you time and money if you need them. However, if you want to save some trees and feel confident that your phone battery won't die, screenshots work just as well. That's especially helpful at airports because sometimes your seat or gate information will change, so you can't always reference that sheet of paper. As for event tickets, I like to screenshot the confirmation email because a lot of ticketing apps have started blocking barcode screenshots. I'm looking at you, Ticketmaster. So those are our hacks for making the most of a trip. Do you have any tips we missed? Share them in the comments below, and we'll see you in the next one.